Yeah, we're gonna go looking for some treasure with Moses and a very young Batman. Treasure Island, released in 1990 and is directed by Fraser Clark Heston, who has also directed such films like The Crucifer of Blood, Needful Things, Alaska, and The Search for Michael Rockefeller. And this film is starring Charlton Heston, Christian Bale, Oliver Reed, Christopher Lee, Julian Glover, Pete Postlethwaite, and Clive Wood. And I just realized that Fraser Heston is the son of Charlton Heston, who starred in this movie. So now I'm realizing how people get gigs in this town. And the reason why we're talking about Treasure Island today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my subscribers and contributors on this channel, Zachariah Kennison. Thank you very, very much for the recommendation. This was a part of your big bundle that you sent my way of all these swashbuckling films that I think I've gotten to some of them, and I think we're going to be wrapping up here in the next couple of months, so thank you very much. I haven't actually watched this movie in a very long time, but I remember having the VHS tape of this and watching it kind of religiously for like a year or so there after this movie came out. Of course, it was released on television. It's a made-for-TV film. This thing definitely didn't hit theaters, and from the quality of the camera and the cinematography, yeah, you can definitely see why. Treasure Island is based on the 1883 novel of the same name, written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Jim Hawkins runs an inn with his widowed mother, and a drunken ship captain comes a-knockin' one day, who seems to know a lot about a buried treasure. And soon other members of his crew come looking for him for the treasure map, but Jim Hawkins is able to take the map and escape, and he tells a local nobleman of the map, and they get together a crew to go a-searching for the treasure. Little do they know that the crew that they have assembled for this journey are actually pirates themselves, led by the dreaded pirate Long John Silver, who of course is played by Charlton Heston, because again, Charlton Heston's son is directing this frickin' thing. That's how you get things in this life. And this is one of those classic tales, right? When you think of a call to action and a journey to go on, why not take a ship somewhere and go looking for buried treasure? It's a classic story, and this film, I think, is actually one of the best renditions of the story of Treasure Island. That, of course, being said, I've only seen 3, where it was this one, the Muppet Treasure Island movie, and then also Treasure Planet. That was a cartoon version of this movie, but it was done in space and spaceships and stuff, that I have previously reviewed on this channel, and I actually gave a pretty nice review, as opposed to its counterpart, Atlantis the Lost Empire, that everyone crucifies me on here for. But watching this movie again brought back a lot of great memories of me sitting with, I think I had like a little toy pirate sword while watching this movie. It was a lot of fun. I think a lot of the mannerisms that some of these characters have, where I think the captain in the very first scene, he puts his pirate hat on and then he pats it on the head. I know I do that like all the time in my regular day life, and I think I learned it from this movie. Or certain grunts or sayings that I guess I didn't really comprehend as a kid, but somehow stuck in my mind that I do nowadays. So I think this film actually had a nice long-lasting imprint on me. This is the definition, for me, of a movie that you watch as a kid and you have absolutely no idea what they are saying or what they're talking about. You're just watching it because you're entertained by what's happening on screen. And I know many of you film buffs out there that watch my channel know what I'm talking about. You remember a film that you watched a lot as a kid, but you're kind of at that age where you don't really comprehend a lot of the big words that are being said, like when you're 2 or 3, but you know what you're watching, you just don't know what they're saying. This is that movie for me. Now I'm understanding the plans, what they're doing for the mutiny that's happening on board, and their plan to go get the treasure and come back. I understand it all. So thank you, Zachariah Kennison, for recommending this movie, because I think it's a nice little completion for me and resolution for me, understanding what was actually happening in this movie as opposed to just being entertained with all of the gunfights and sword fights and battles that were happening. I think this was a weird time too, because in the 90s, I think swashbuckling and sword films, pirate films weren't really a thing in the 90s and weren't made popular again, I would say, really until Pirates of the Caribbean in 2003. So I think this whole decade this decade started off with this movie, and thankfully it was made for television. And I think for the rest of the decade, everyone, film producers and studios were like, yeah, if we're going to do pirates, let's do it for TV. I'm not going to invest way more money to try to make a profit in actual movie theaters. Let's just do it for television if we're going to do it at all. And as I said before, I think a lot of the cinematography, the reuse of shots that we see, especially the reuse of shots for the actual big ship that they use, it's definitely obvious in here. But in terms of the performances and the commitment to this thing, even though this was a made-for-television film, I think it's actually pretty impressive. It's one of the first films that Christian Bale had. Of course, he was in Empire of the Sun. I believe he was in Newsies a couple years later. This is just one of those movies that sets him on his path to go down and be one of the greatest actors living today. And I'm not just saying that because he's Batman and I have a Batman tattoo on my forearm. I'm not just saying that. He is an actually impressive actor. It is very cool that they got Charlton Heston, though, for this thing, and that he agreed to do it. I mean, for me, Charlton Heston will always be Moses from the Ten Commandments. Hear me now, Pharaoh. Let my people go. The film, I think, is a lot of fun. If no one's ever seen it before, would you be entertained with this? I would assume so. It's a very classic tale, and it has a lot of universal appeal, right? A young kid getting access to a treasure map and then actually going after that treasure. Maybe the quality of the cinematography may turn a lot of people off, but I still think it's really cool, especially seeing a lot of these big-time actors in younger form be in this movie. I guess Christopher Lee is in this thing as the blind beggar/evil pirate organizer person. I had no idea. I saw his name on the credits. I was like, I would have no idea who he plays in this thing. Looking it up here, realizing that he plays the old beggar, the evil beggar in the beginning of the movie, blew my mind because I didn't recognize him at all. It just, wow. Count Dooku is a blind beggar. How quaint. You do get a lot of that piratey talk, almost kind of crossing over to Irish in this film. Oh, it's everywhere. Only a couple of people in films like Pirates of the Caribbean have it. Here, everyone has that accent, and my God, I'm sure it's a lot of fun for the performers, but as an audience member listening to it, it's like, okay, do we all need to talk like this? Jesus Christ. It's a fun, swashbuckling film, and it brings back a lot of great memories of me watching this. Actually, I remember times just staring at the VHS cover for some reason, because I think the poster of this film is actually really cool. The artist rendering of Christian Bale and Charlton Heston and seeing all that gold, it just brings back my childhood. I'm going to give Treasure Island 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
Alright, everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. The next one comes as a recommendation and PayPal donation from one of my subscribers. Name the stars. You have been on here a lot, and I have really, really appreciate it with all of the great recommendations that you sent me. Actually, you mailed me a couple of DVDs and Blu-rays all the way from the UK, so thank you so much. You're one of the best subscribers and contributors I have on this channel. Thank you very much. Your recommendation, though, was Writers of Justice, which sounds like a very evil professional wrestling faction that would go around in like leather vests and beat up everybody. Because I feel like we've had like a lot of those factions actually in WWE at least. No idea what it's about, but we'll check it out next time. So guys, if you've seen this version of Treasure Island, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing the next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Writers of Justice. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.